What's up guys, welcome back to Troops, bringing you my breakdown of the best outdoor ball shoes in town. It's been a while. Hopefully everyone's not suffering too badly from this whole unique COVID situation we're living through at the moment. I haven't been able to play basketball for about 2 months now, but things are slowly starting to open up here where I am in Sydney. Hopefully it's the same or even better maybe where you are. Hang in there if it's not. A lot of us are going to have to tighten our belts over the next few months, maybe even years, because of how we've been affected by this situation. I'm always keen, even before this, on getting the maximum bang for my buck when it comes to basketball shoes, especially outdoors where they wear down pretty quick. So if that's the kind of content you think you'd be interested in and you haven't subscribed already, do so right now. I was going to do a performance review on these right about the time when lockdown started kicking in here in Sydney, Australia. Then when the lockdown did kick in, I kind of got disheartened and haven't made any new videos for a couple of months now. Luckily, I was able to get some shots up 3 times over the past couple of weeks. I'm re-familiarized with these shoes and ready to give my breakdown, my opinion, my full performance review on these. The other cool thing about this lockdown was, even though I wasn't making videos, I have a pretty cool new setup which I'm quite pleased with. So I've got some shoes that I'm going to do reviews on over here and here. As always, Kobe's my favorite player of all time, and in light of his passing this year in particular, I wanted to have a little bit of him. And The Last Dance, of course, has been tiding us basketball fanatics through this no playing period over the past couple of months. Which reminded me I had this awesome poster of MJ, who was my other favorite player of all time. Grew up in the 90s watching him play, and so he's in this video as well. So I've spent about 10 hours in these, and I think I'm ready to give a full performance review on them. These are the Decathlon Tarmak SC 500. Now, in my initial look at these shoes, I mentioned that the name is god-awful. That is such a mouthful. It really doesn't roll off the tongue like Air Jordan 11s, or the LeBron 17s, or the Kyrie 4s. But I don't think Decathlon's in the sneakerhead market, at least not yet. Maybe they're just not too fussed about names. Anyway, Tarmak, as you can see there on the heel, that's Decathlon's name for their basketball line. Just as like a general comment before I get stuck into specific aspects of the shoe, this was a great shoe for me after I broke them in. I normally wear shoes off court for a couple of hours, 3, maybe 4 hours. I wear them around the house, around my neighborhood, before I ever take them to the basketball court, because I find that helps the shoe break in a little bit, mold to my foot a little bit. However, with these, I was so keen after picking them up for 29 bucks, which is about $19 US, that I took them straight to the court the next day. Didn't break them in at all. The upper's a combination of mesh and fuse. Both those materials broke in really nicely, no dramas there. But the midsole needed some serious break-in. Until I'd spent maybe 2 or 3 hours in them, they actually hurt the arch of my foot quite badly. But once I got past about that 3-hour mark, no dramas, they were great. Okay, traction. Now I wasn't sure if I was going to like the traction on this shoe because it's translucent, as you can see there. But no dramas. You can see even after about 10 hours, that traction has held up really nicely. It's barely frayed at all. A little bit of fraying here on the toe, where you have this other different compound. This is a softer rubber. But this clear stuff, it's been really good. This is a really grippy traction setup, but it's not squeaky. Any of you who've paid attention to the Wear Testers YouTube channel, Chris, best shoe reviewer on the internet in my opinion, he is always reminding us that squeak doesn't mean stick. Squeaky traction doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be great traction, and you don't need a squeak to have good stick. You should put that on a t-shirt. Great thing about the traction in the high wear areas like here and here in the heel is that the pattern is quite widely spaced apart, if you can see there. So the dust just falls out of it. This white pattern here, unfortunately sometimes mud and little stones, twigs did get stuck, but because I tend to put my foot mainly on this area here and not on the outside, even when there was mud or sticks stuck in those zones, it didn't bother me. So traction, very happy. Seems pretty durable. Obviously 10 hours isn't that much, but judging by what I'm seeing so far, I think this pattern at least is going to be fine to last. Alright, cushion. So I mentioned in my first look video that The midsole is an EVA midsole. So you got to temper your expectations accordingly. This isn't Boost, this isn't Zoom. It's not going to be super soft, it's not going to be super responsive, but I bought the shoe expecting that it would absorb some impact and provide a little bit of cushion under my foot without being excessive. And that's pretty much what I got. Like I mentioned at the top of the video, the cushion does need to be broken in. Once that came in, you got a little bit of bounce in the heel. Nice feeling when you sunk back in on your heel there. Under the forefoot, I wouldn't say it's anything crazy. You don't really feel it unless you come down hard. That did mean that court feel was really nice. So for those players who like a low to the ground feeling, so you can push off with speed without feeling like you sink into the shoe, that's something you probably enjoy. I tend to not land on my heel very much when I play anyway. When I did, I could feel it, but otherwise that heel sensation didn't really do much for me while I was playing. Speaking of Zoom though, I have been playing around with these Zoom insoles that you can slip into any shoe, so I'm going to discuss those in a future video. You've seen some other reviews on the web if you're into that sort of thing, probably by now. I've been buying mine pretty cheap, I think they're about 10 bucks Australian, so what's that, like $6-7 US? They're pretty good, so stay tuned. Okay, materials. I love these materials because my feet sweat and leave my socks and feet feeling like they've been in a sauna after an average game. So I've got really nice mesh all the way around, nice in that it's great for ventilation. Means the upper is really easy to break in, of course, as well. On the very first day I took these outdoors to play in, it had been raining, court was dry, put these on, didn't really think about it, stepped in mud. And you wouldn't be able to tell looking at the shoe actually. The mud washed off really, really easily, and they're still nice and clean, as you can see there. Nothing really stuck into the sole, which is good as well. As far as the durability of the materials, like I said, hardly any signs of wear and tear at all. White compound there on the traction does have some small signs of wearing, but everything else is pretty much the way it was when I first bought the shoe. The only slight negative about the materials is because you have a lot of this fuse stuff over the toe, and maybe the way it's been implemented with the mesh, it does lead to a little bit of bubbling, which I'll discuss in the fit section. But overall materials, very happy, especially for the price. Keep that price in mind at all times. Ventilation, like I mentioned, because of the construction, mesh all the way around the shoe, all the way around the upper, your foot is always breathing very, very comfortably in this shoe. You can put your hand inside and breathe right through, which is one of the things I always do to test breathability, and it goes straight through to your hand almost as if there's nothing in the way. So ventilation, very good. Alright, fit. Fit was pretty good. I did mention in my earlier video on these that Decathlon seems to favor accuracy in their Euro sizing over their US sizing. What I mean by that is, in Nike I wear a US 11, which usually translates to a Euro 45. These are a Euro 45, but Decathlon has labeled them Euro 45 and US 11.5. Keep that in mind. You might want to try these on in store if you can. Probably the same goes for all other Decathlon basketball products. I can't say that for sure, I've only tried on a few of their shoes, but it's just something to remember. Now there was some dead space in the top of the toe box. So you can see that here. There's some bubbling left over from where those laces and the way the fuse and mesh is set up causes that bit there to fold. That's where the toe folds as well. And then this bit here is a little bit bubbled. Nothing crazy, I've definitely experienced worse than this. And you don't really notice it when your foot's in there and you've been moving around in them for a while. But you can feel it if you become aware of it, or if you are hyper conscious of fit. I would put the shoe on and then notice that there was some bubbling there, and then just forget about it while I played. So didn't really bother me. People who really want that one-to-one fit, you might want to try going down half a size. But this shoe is also a little bit narrow across the front foot there. So if you go down half a size and you have wide feet, that's probably going to be quite uncomfortable for you. I have what I think are pretty normal sized feet, and I found this narrow. Something to be aware of again, this might not be the shoe for wide footers. Because the lacing system is so well set up, all I did to accommodate the fact that these are a little bit narrow is made the lacing at the front a little bit looser and then cinched it tight here so I still had good lockdown around the heel and the ankle. One final thing about the fit is my toes could only comfortably get to about here. And that's partly because of the construction of the shoe, I think. You can see the tip there is actually quite narrow. No one aside from some of those basketball freaks like Scottie Pippen with weird feet actually have toes and feet that point in towards the end. Most of the time, if your feet haven't been messed with, your foot will splay out. In which case they're not going to comfortably fit at the end of the shoe here. Most people like having a little bit of dead space past their toes anyway. This might not be an issue for you if that's the case. But if you're someone who likes having his big toe right at the end of the shoe, again, this might not be the shoe for you. So I mentioned the Decathlon web lock system in my previous video on these shoes, and I found it fantastic. One of the best things about this system for me is how quickly and easily it was to get the shoe on and off, especially the off part. I hate having to fight to get a shoe off my foot at the end of playing for 2 or 3 hours when my feet are swollen, I'm getting a little bit tired, and I really just want to get home or get into a good stretch routine. And these ones, you undo the top 2 lace loops and just pull on the tongue, and the whole shoe slides off your foot with really great ease. So that's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's one of those little quality of life things which isn't going to be a deal breaker, but if you have it, you like it. As far as how the web lock system contributes to cinching in your foot, I mentioned in that previous video as well that these lace loops extend all the way down to the midsole there, and you can really feel that when you tie these up. Upon tightening the laces, the whole upper cinches in around your foot, so you get a nice secure one-to-one feeling in that mid and back foot. A little bit of space like I mentioned in the front, but the foot itself feels really secure overall. As far as weight goes, I actually haven't measured these at the time of the video, but I will weigh these as soon as I'm done and put that information right here. These didn't feel heavy when I had them on foot at all. They don't feel super light in hand. These aren't like a Kobe 8 or anything like that, but they're definitely not heavy. What counts most of all is how they feel while you're playing. I would put these on, tie them up, and then forget that I was wearing them. Support. This shoe doesn't have much in the way of additional support features beyond what you want in a standard basketball shoe. The little outrigger that they have, that did great. Heel lockdown was nice and secure. Ankle felt nice and locked in because of the lace system and the fit of the shoe. Heel padding was very minimal, but it did help stop any heel slippage. So most of all, what I go by as far as judging the support of a shoe is how confident I felt in my movements on court while wearing any particular shoe. And with these, it was set and forget. I'd put them on, get on the court, no dramas, which is always what I want in a shoe. I don't want to have to think, am I going to slip in a shoe? Is this shoe going to make my ankle more likely to roll while I jump or land? And this was just one of those shoes that did what it was meant to. So, pretty good. So that takes care of it. Overall, I thought this was a great shoe, especially for that price point of 29 Aussie dollars, which was of course a sale price, but Decathlon has sales all the time. At that price point, it's under 20 bucks US. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend this shoe to anyone. There are some drawbacks with the shoe which won't make it work for some people. Toes a little bit narrow, there's a little bit of bubbling, but for under $30, you can try it, and even if you don't like it, give it to someone who'll benefit from it. It really is a bargain price. Cushion's probably the one area that didn't feel absolutely top-notch because it isn't top-notch cushioning, but it is cushioning that gets the job done. As far as impact protection goes, you're not going to have aches and pains like you would if you played in work boots or barefoot like some crazy people do. But if you take cushion away, I thought the build quality, the materials, the support, the fit, ventilation, those things all make this a shoe definitely worth at least trying. One other thing that I really dug about trying this shoe is that it is from Decathlon, and Decathlon is not the first name that comes to mind when we think basketball shoes. And yet, this shoe still has all the things, pretty much, that I would want if I was buying a shoe from Nike or Adidas or any of those typical brands. Decathlon has updated their basketball lineup recently. This isn't a sponsored video, I just really like shoes. And I think some of them look pretty promising. So if you're interested, head over to their website, or if there's a store near you, go check out their new shoes. Like I said, they have sales all the time. These were originally close to about $100 and I got them for $29, and there was a different colorway on sale for $15, which is insane. I got these adorable little shoes for my daughter, who's a little bit over 1 year old. I got these on sale for about $3 and they are fantastic. Again, excellent materials. Let's do a little shoe review on toddler shoes. And she's gotten great value out of them. Once she outgrew these, we went back and got another pair because we love these so much. So yeah, Decathlon has great value. I've used a ton of their other stuff as well. Resistance bands, weights, clothes. Can't recommend them highly enough. Again, not sponsored, just speaking from my experience. Alright guys, well, hope you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments if you got something out of this, if you're going to try some stuff from Decathlon. I'd love to hear what you think of this new setup. I really like it, so I hope you guys do too. I'm really committed to continuing to try alternatives to some of the big brands when it comes to outdoor basketball shoes. So Peak, li-ning, Decathlon, maybe even Kmart. I've checked out some of their shoes, who knows? So if that sounds like the sort of content you'd be into and you haven't subscribed already, please do. Let me know if there's anything about these shoes that you'd like to know down in the comments below, and I'll make sure I reply. Don't forget to hit like so I know that you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video.